I'm but I don't think that everybody is in. So do you think this is uh, like being fancy to use this kind of word in the youth, in the like people are using this kind of words to just be fancy, or like not using this type of things in the right manner?
Well, I mean, there's definitely far more labels nowadays than there's been in the past. And
Yeah,
the list seems to be growing. Almost every year we come up with endless labels, and unfortunately, they're all negative. If you've noticed the pattern, we don't really hear labels for positive things, it's only for the negative stuff.
right.
And yeah, I would say that, I mean, it's not, human beings have been human beings since the day they were created. So challenges are part of life. No.
So, Hafsa, first of all, welcome to our show. I'm very excited to have you today in our show because, like today, from you, we are going to learn a lot of things. We are going to understand about the mental fitness because I think, like, there was an era where physical fitness was the big thing, but right now at this moment, like people are very like they are not fit in their mental fitness, so that it is very important to understand about that. And today we are going to go very deeper into these topics. So first of all, thank you so much for like being in our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So let us get started and let us just start the conversation because like I'm feeling very excited and I have lot of questions to ask you. So Hamza, like Hafsa, before that, I want you to introduce to our audience so that like they can understand you more.
Okay, so thank you, Charan, for having me in your show. Um, so through my work as a life coach, the concept of mental fitness is something that comes up all the time, and it seems to be at the heart of absolutely everything that we all do,
Yeah.
be it youth or children, youth or adults. And like you said, mental fitness is the equivalent of physical fitness. So what physical fitness does for the body is what mental fitness does for the mind, except that mental fitness is far more important because what happens in your mind controls what happens with your body. So
Yeah.
when you're mentally fit, you're more capable of being physically fit and disciplining yourself towards physical fitness. So like you said, it is the foundation of absolutely everything else that happens out there, and worth delving deeper into for sure.
Hafsa, do you think like when we were just like let's say 10 years, 20 years back, or let's say hundreds years, 100 years back, when people don't know about this term like mental fitness, like depression or all those terms, so it was a genuine life, like people were just living their life, they were just enjoying everything. But now do you think depression and all those terms are very much into the market? And like for some people, like I usually like I see that most of the people are using the terms like I am in depression, but I don't think that everybody is in depression. So do you think this is uh, like being fancy to use this kind of word in the youth, in the like people are using this kind of words to just be fancy, or like not using this type of things in the right manner?
Well, I mean, there's definitely far more labels nowadays than there's been in the past. And
Yeah,
the list seems to be growing. Almost every year we come up with endless labels, and unfortunately, they're all negative. If you've noticed the pattern, we don't really hear labels for positive things, it's only for the negative stuff.
right.
And yeah, I would say that, I mean, it's not, human beings have been human beings since the day they were created. So challenges are part of life. Nobody's life is ever perfect. We'll go through negative states, negative emotions. But back in the day, there wasn't much focus on labelings and naming these things. And people just, I guess, learned how to live with whatever they were going through and move on with their lives. And now, with the development of science, particularly neuroscience, we've come to, we have a better ability to identify certain patterns of behavior, certain emotions, and it is good to identify what's going on in order to better cope with it. The only problem is that it is now getting out of board. It's too much. And
Hmm.
people now have become reduced to whatever label we stick to them. We see this phenomenon particularly in schools now, where teachers are quick to refer students to counseling or psychological assessments the moment they don't perform at an optimal level. We're quick to look for what's wrong with them and label them, and it becomes pathological. You become defective in a way, and that in itself is very limiting and almost sometimes dehumanizing, for especially for the youth. So you
Yeah.
grow up labeling yourself as less than, let,
Hmm.
not good enough, and that sticks to you, and then your whole life is just a battle to fight that. And it's really, really unfortunate. There needs to be a shift towards more positivity, looking for what's okay with people, what they're doing well. And the focus needs to be invested more in how to be better, how to perform better, versus of what's wrong with me. What is
Yeah.
my new label? Am I ADHD, or am I ODD, or am I OCD, or God knows what other letters? It's just become, like you said, it's almost fashionable. It's like, hey, what's your name? What's your title? What's your acronym? So what's your label? It's sad, but it's true, and it needs to change. And that's what brings us back to mental fitness being of utmost importance.
uh, like, just give me one thing, like, mental fitness, and these are the terms, as you like just spoke about that right now, that there are a lot of labels that is going to add every single year, and this is just going to be happening in the future as well. So why a human being or a person who is sitting like anywhere in this world, like let's say in India, a youth should know about all those things? Why a newbie should know about mental health, about the other, like the terms that you use, like the depression, mental health, and all those things? Why they should know about that?
Well, I would say they should know about what I personally would not recommend that they need to know about all the things that could possibly go wrong with them. What I do in my practice is I'm all about empowerment. So I would direct them to know what can possibly be good and great
Hmm.
with them. So the attention, like I said, needs to be shifted towards how to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
Find strengths, find what makes you a better person, and shift the focus away from what makes you limited. You got to
Hmm.
move around away from these very limiting beliefs. Society already does enough in this area. Parents, without knowing, do enough to
Right.
damage their children. Schools do enough. So honestly, through my work, my goal is to shift these young people away
Yeah.
from that negative space and place them in a more positive space where they dive deeper into what makes them unique, what makes them who they are, and how they can be better versions of themselves through developing skills of mental fitness. So it's all positive. Mental fitness is all about practices that are positive, positive habits, positive thinking patterns that eventually turns us into a positive person overall, able to function at an optimal level.
Right. Right. Let's go in the fundamentals and let's start with the basic. So, Hafsa, what do you understand by this term mental fitness? What does term mean to you, like according to your point of view?
So for me, mental fitness is this optimal state that a person can be in that allows him or her to operate at an optimal level where they don't get hijacked, where they don't go into negative mode. And if they do, which is inevitable, let's just be honest, but you
Yeah.
don't dwell on it, you don't stay in that space for too long. And it's that ability to shift towards a more positive state of mind that allows you to function at a better level. And that would affect all aspects of our lives, from studies for young people to work, to relationships, to absolutely everything. So that's what I would, in a nutshell, identify as mental fitness.
Hmm. Makes sense. And what do you understand by like the positive intelligence, as you were talking about, like off camera?
Positive intelligence is the underlying research behind what I'm referring to personally when I talk about mental fitness in my personal training. I'm talking about mental fitness based on the concepts and the research and findings of positive intelligence, which was led by Stanford graduate Shirzad Shamin. And I couldn't possibly go into all the details in a limited time, but what that is basically is to bring ourselves to this state of ultimate sage. Our sage is our essence, is this space where we operate at our best and not fall prey to our saboteurs, which is the state of hijack. Every day in our life, we are bound to get hijacked in different situations. That is the challenge of life. But when you're in an optimal state of mental fitness, you do not allow yourself to get hijacked for too long, because you've built this self-command muscle that allows you to quickly identify, first of all, intercept the saboteur that's targeting you at that moment, and then shift away from that space by getting into a more sage, you tap into your sage power, and
Right.
that's how you navigate through your day or your life in general in the best possible way. Again, this is a very overly summarized and overly simplified idea, but the research is just amazing.
Amazing, amazing. So, like, I got an idea about both the things. I got an idea that, like, the thing is, humans are not able to control their mind, their like the focus, because there are a lot of things that are like having a lot of distractions. Like big companies just want us to just spend our time in the mobile phones and in the social media applications, because it is just dopamine hit that we are going to get in our mind. So like nobody want us to be focused. But in terms of the mental fitness, or like the things that you coach people about, is to get focused in the work that you do, and like don't be hijacked, like somebody else is controlling your mind. Like you are not the owner of your mind, you are influenced by someone or something like that. So it is, be in the current stage, be in the current scenario, and stay focused. Am I correct with that?
Exactly. Absolutely, you got it. Yes, like these the hijack state is like these, we call them saboteurs, because
Yeah.
they sabotage your optimal state of sage. And they're like voices inside your head, and they prompt you to think in a certain way that's always negative.
Mm,
Saboteur is always leading to negative emotion. And even though it is inevitable, I insist on this, like nobody can claim that they can get rid of sabotage mode permanently and be
yeah.
in safe all the time. It's just not possible. But what
Mm,
is possible is to identify this state of sabotage and not stay in it through different techniques, obviously, that allow you to develop that self-command muscle that allows you to shift. So the sage state is where you're able to be fully immersed in the present, able to assess the situation and tap into the sage powers in order to get rid of the negativity and make the most out of any situation. And the sabotage mode is where you're in negative state and you're, for the most part, dysfunctional and unable to see clearly and unable to make the right decisions.
makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. So for being in the current stage, like a lot of people recommend us to start with meditation. Like start
Mhm.
with meditation. There is some like exercises, some practices, like we can use breathing practices where we are just
Mhm.
focusing on our breathe, and this is going to help us in our mental fitness starting of the zone. Like practice some of the things like breathing practices. There are chanting practices that we can do just to like be in the current scenario, in the current space. So what do you recommend a guy who want to start the journey of controlling their mind and have the power of their mind? So what do you recommend? What do you think?
I would say training their mind rather than controlling their mind. And
Yeah,
yes, meditation is, yes, the lead, the most common way people have been trying to train themselves to be more more present in the moment and more tuned with their body. The the only catch with meditation is that it requires a certain um, environment, a certain
yeah,
setup. In order to go into that deep state of meditation, you want to make sure you're in a space on your own, ideally.
yeah,
I mean, there are different scenarios, as we all know. And how realistic is that in our busy lives? How many people adhere to practice in meditation on
right.
frequently enough in order for that to yield results? The truth is that with our busy life, that's not very feasible on a consistent basis. Now, what the practices of mental fitness propose is something comparable to meditation, but it's more adaptable to our busy lifestyle.
Yeah,
So we call them in positive intelligence. They're called PQ reps. There are different terminologies in the training we offer at the World Mindset Organization. They're referred to as SIP reps. SIP stands for stay or step
uh,
into present.
step.
So these are step into present. So these are, I would say, if you like the word meditation, I can call it that, even though it's not. But I would rather call it an exercise that can last as short as 10 or 20 seconds. And that is something you can do while in the middle of a meeting or in the middle of a debate or in the middle
Yeah,
of anything you're doing. So you do not have to say, excuse me, I need to step away to do some meditation to ground myself before I come back and answer you.
yeah,
Ideally, we would all love to do that. Many times we're in situations where we could really use that kind of a break. Now, what these SIP exercises offer is, at the moment, you can get into that deep state where you connect with yourself, where you get sufficiently grounded such that you do not get hijacked. I'll give you an example. A typical SIP exercise is an exercise where you simply direct your attention uh, with a lot of focus to one physical sensation of your choice. So meditation is very typical in the sense where you sit down, you close your eyes, and you go into the deep step space while you focus on your breathing. SIP exercises are way shorter and, again, adaptable. So whatever
yeah,
sense appeals to you the most, we're all different. It kind of compares to learning styles. Some of us, it's our hearing that's more acute. For some of us, it's our sense of smell. For some of us, it's our sight. So these exercises can appeal to one sense at a time. And
hmm,
let me give you an example. Let's say you're in a meeting.
yeah,
The conversation is getting heated, and you can sense yourself getting emotionally charged. You're not liking what's being said or the direction where things are going, and you can sense yourself getting sabotaged. You can sense yourself getting angry.
yeah,
You could simply do a sip rep at that moment, very discreetly, nobody knows. So, for
yeah,
example, you can direct your attention. Let's say if the sense of touch is what's intense for you at that moment, you can direct your attention to your toes. You're
hmm,
not doing anything, you're seated in your chair, but your
yeah,
mind, your attention is going to your toes, and you're wiggling
toes.
your toes inside your shoes, and you're
Hmm,
feeling your toes. And all the attention at that moment is going to your toes, and you're feeling your socks against your toes, you're feeling the
yeah,
soles of your shoes. And that simple exercise is very, very grounding, believe it or not. because you're directing your attention to one physical sensation at the moment.
Hmm.
And that allows you to gain a level of self control and shifts you away from falling prey to negative emotion at that moment. So this is an
Right.
example. Yeah, for somebody who's into like touch, it could be hearing. You could just direct your attention to noticing all the sounds around you, from the furthest to the closest. And again, that exercise shifts attention intensely to one thing, and
Right.
eventually, I mean, these are things obviously we do on a daily basis, and that's how you build your self-command muscle. But the
Hmm.
beauty is that you can implement them in the heat of any moment. There are, like I said, exercises for each physical sensation, and there's at least one or two or more that you can apply almost in any situation you're in. So your chances of not being hijacked are very high while you do your little secret thing in plain sight without hiding.
This is amazing. Like this is very simple things, but people don't think about that. Like
Mhm.
right now at this moment, I'm hearing all the voice that is going on in my room, so I can hear a lot of things. But when I'm talking to you, like all of the thing vanish. So the thing is, once we like, this is a very small practice, but I think that it has a very big impact on that. So
Absolutely.
like, this is very good thing that you told us. So I want to go more into this. So as you told us about, for being in the present, what is the exercise you prefer for like getting focused on a particular thing? Like if you are working something, and there are a lot of like hacks and like Pomodoro techniques, there are some lot of hacks to be focused. Like you can add some alarms on your mobile phone, and there are a lot of other things that we can do for being focused. What do you prefer? Do you have like for your productivity, what is the hack of that?
If you're asking me personally, my personal preference,
Okay.
um, again, it depends on what is the dominant, I guess, sensation that is more dominant, more powerful for you. I guess for me, I would say my sight. I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
So whenever I want to do a sip exercise, I use the power of sight. And again, it's one of those very, very discreet things that you can do at any moment. Obviously, when I'm on my own, I try to start my day with these little sip reps so that I can be at an optimal state. But again, it's something I can do like right now while being with you in
Hmm.
this conversation. I can just zoom in on, let's say, the poster behind you, and then really scan it and look at the details, or I can simply use you as a visual and then
Yeah.
navigate your face and study your features. And that allows me to like do that laser focus that
Yeah.
eventually trains my mind to be in
Hmm.
that state of where you're totally in the present moment, and I'm
Yeah.
not listening to the voices inside my head anymore. No
Hmm.
matter what saboteurs are trying to hijack me at that moment, I'm not going to fall prey to them because I am right now stepping into the present using the visual technique. It's my
Right.
favorite because, like I said, it's so discreet, and oftentimes you can use it with the person you're interacting with, because usually the need for stepping into the present comes because you're feeling yourself getting hijacked. That
Right.
person is saying something or doing something that's getting to you. You can feel yourself about to explode. And the best thing is you can use them. They're not even aware, but you're literally navigating their face, their features, the hair sticking out, or a little wrinkle or something. And that alone is enough to bring you into that present moment where you're able to sort out the voices in your head, identify the saboteurs, and choose to operate out of sage. And that's a
Hmm.
conscious choice that you got to make. Obviously, when this is an exercise you do on a regular basis, it becomes the norm. It comes to you naturally. But at the
Right.
beginning, you have to make the conscious effort to bring yourself there.
Amazing. Amazing. Like today we have learned a lot of things from you. The conversation that we have was amazing. Like I love the way you explained about the mindset thing. So if a person wants to connect with you and want to learn all those things from you, how you can help a guy or the viewers who are watching this video?
Thank you, Chiran. So, if anybody wants to get in touch with me in person through my social media, I'm on both Facebook and Insta primarily. Those are the platforms I use the most. And if anybody was interested into taking the mental fitness training, we call it the 8 week intensive program
Yeah.
that is offered through the World Mindset Organization. Again, people can find that on our website at
Okay.
worldmindset.org, and they can sign up and join our trainings. And the World Mindset Organization is a nonprofit, so this training would be accessible free of charge based on donations only. And for
Amazing.
one-on-one trainings and anything outside of that, then people can reach out to me directly through my social media.
Amazing. You are doing a very great job for helping people and creating an impact. And this is the next big thing that is going to happen. People have to take control of their mindset, because right now, what I think is big companies and higher authorities are hijacking your mind. They are taking all the things, and like, our mind have a very powerful, this is very powerful, like we can think a lot of things, but there are some higher authorities who are just like hijacking it. And I think that just having a break type of thing, like we are not able to expand our thoughts because we are stuck in a loop by using the same tools and same things again and again, and just releasing some type of dopamines or things. But I think that you are doing great job. Thank you so much for being in this podcast. Thank you so much for your valuable time. This was amazing.
Thank you very much, Chiran, for having me. It's always my pleasure.
Just the last thing, I just a question popped to my mind. Like, you are working with a non-profit organization, you are helping people for a biggest problem that people are facing right now. What drives you? Why you are doing this? What is the reason behind it?
I would say simply to be of service. There's tremendous joy and reward that comes from serving people
Right.
that I couldn't possibly put into words. It's just this heartwarming feeling when you see someone being able to walk away after having a conversation with you, being able
Right.
to walk away with valuable input and being able to change themselves and then become a better version of themselves
Hmm.
is more than more rewarding than anything. And the best part is that there's a ripple effect. When you're able to help one person become a better version of themselves and change their mindset, then they're in turn going to be able to affect the people in their immediate environment.
Right.
And that's how the world becomes a better place. And that's the mission of the World Mindset Organization, is to literally bring the world to a better place by helping people change their mindsets one mindset at a time. And that's all it
Mm.
takes for the world to become a better place. But it starts with service. So if you're asking me what prompts me to do this, it's that vision of this beautiful world where we're all in this positive mindset space. Imagine the wonders that can happen, that can create.
Amazing, amazing. You have a very good vision. You are a great person. Thank you so much once again for being in this podcast. I'm very grateful to have you today.
Thank you, Dan. It's my honor.